Hello and welcome back to the Owlet Minors Tournament. Sorry about that technical difficulty, everybody. Had a bit of a computer malfunction, but we are back. We are good to go. We did miss the rest of map 1. Right now it is currently ExPandable Odyssey up 1-0 against Greyhound Solar, who are currently sitting at the top of our leaderboard.
And they also took that match very dominantly. It was 3 straight points, pretty fast. Little percentage going over to Greyhound as well. We now get to see them on Junkertown, which is an absolutely beautiful map. Current a couple of comps that you can pull out here, which could definitely move that payload a lot faster. But there is certain choke points on this map that can be hard to get through. But from what it's been looking like, ExPandable Odyssey should be able to, but we're just going to have to see.
Well, you know, and I, for one, am interested to see how ExPandable Odyssey come out here compositionally, right? You didn't get to see it on stream because of malfunctions, but they're playing very high-level meta compositions like the Goats comp, like the Super McCree, right? So they know what they're doing in that regard. However, this is a map where Goats is a little bit harder to pull off. There's a lot of open space. You can bring a Pharah. You can get an off angle with a Widowmaker. There are options here for Greyhound Solar when they come out here on their defense.
What it's also looking like is there could be a Genji within this comp, maybe a Sombra. I think they might be just trying to scout out exactly what they can find before they go back to base. I've also seen that. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Possible.
Yep, I've seen that come out sometimes where they might switch heroes either first death or right off the bat if they just want to adjust. You can already see Paper Monk pulling out the Orisa, also some Roadhog. We also see the Widowmaker, maybe just to scout out the area, but we're just going to have to see how exactly these teams play.
Right now, yeah, it is Jack going out. He is going for that scout at the moment. He sees it's the pulled pork. Probably saw the Widow up on the high ground, so he's going to switch to a Widow himself. We're going to have a Widowmaker battle here on Junkertown as ExPandable Odyssey move out the gate. Right now, Jack looking for the other Widow. Knows relatively where they set up. He's peeking up. Goes for the flick. Can't quite find him because Agathon's moved. Oh, right now. Oh, the dive comes in on to Agathon, however, goes incredibly low, but the healing is there. Jack, however, has found one. And Jax, not to be confused, has found another. Half the team of Greyhound Solar is down, and ExPandable Odyssey are wrapping up this team fight nice and quick.
Freezer was nowhere to be seen. He ended up just picking the Sombra and is currently kind of out of bounds right now. He hasn't even really shown his face. He's trying to do some sort of flankage right now. Maybe just try and suicide, get the heck out of there. But Jack wants to make quick business of him.
Yeah, maybe it was a situation where they thought they were going to come out on a Goats again. Freezer could get a nice hack, but there really aren't that many backline targets for Freezerburn to go after right now. And maybe would like to see him try and play a little bit more with his team. Hey, okay, ExPandable have gotten back on the payload now. Left it there for a minute. Ooh, and Jack are the first ones to fall. Greyhound Solar not giving up point A so easily. They get their last second contestation, and with a 4v6, it looks like ExPandable are just going to back up and wait for the respawns.
And not a horrible disengage tactic either. Some teams may just stay on the payload and just say, you know what, this is mine. I'm going to stay here. It doesn't matter if I die. But this team, they just want to get the heck out of there. They want to disengage. They don't want to stagger. So they try and disengage, see who exactly they can pick off, because we know that Freezer is in the back right now. There was one more member in that little choke right there. Oh,
speaking of pickoffs.
Yeah.
Yeah, Agathon finds the first pick onto Rippin'. Right now, ExPandable kind of just waiting around. They're a little bit confused how to approach this. Jack pops the Infrasight, but he gets so low, takes so much damage over on the side. Not going to quite go down, but he's not going to find any value either.
As well, we don't see ExPandable going in just yet. They finally do find Freezerburn, but now they need to see how exactly they want to approach this fight. They see an Orisa as well as a Roadhog kind of defending the team so far. It looks like Winston just wants to go in.
Yeah, they've got to be careful, though. Agathon is looking for those picks. The Nano comes down on to the Winston, dives straight into the lines, and 2 members of the Greyhound already down. EMP coming out from Freezerburn, but it's just too little too late. Gets a nice bit of hacks, but to what avail?
Yeah, he just gets 1 kill onto Jack. At that point, it doesn't really matter because at the end of the day, you still get the payload onto the second phase of this map. This area is a little bit easier to pull off because it's in more tight corridors. You can use the Diva ult kind of perfectly. You do see her just pulling off the suicide because she just wants to reset. But again, this area is a little bit more tighter as well. You can get to the third phase easier.
Infrasight comes out early from Agathon. wants to try and get an early pick, shut this fight down, but Jack over the top, not going to get punished for that flick up. He's probably out of sight lines. Agathon still just waiting for Jack to peek his head out. Peeks, the Widow battle ensues. No one finding any value. Agathon finds the first pick, but a blade out in the back line, countered by the Transcendence from Dr. Professor Oak. Great name, by the way. Now, the Transcendence does wear off, but Greyhound Solar have found 2 picks already. They're going to look for more, but Triamatar in the back line trades himself out, and with that, ExPandable just don't have the players to get in here.
That was beautiful from Greyhound Solar. They almost kind of had everything to stop the push out of ExPandable. There was the Zenyatta ultimate that came out in the backline that ended up stopping the Genji ultimate as well as the D.Va self-destruct. So there was a couple of things that could have prevented. I do want to see how exactly ExPandable ended up approaching this next flank, because as well, Winston just ended up messing the hop, but he doesn't miss up this one.
Yeah, he goes deep into the backline. Dr. Professor Oak takes so much damage, but the healing not quite there. Trades do come out in the shadow, lays down 3 from ExPandable. Beautiful cleanup opportunity for the defending team here. Agathon overhead just picks him off while they're laying down.
Nobody is on this Widow all the way up here on this balcony, and nobody wanted to go for them. Winston immediately jumping into the back line, D.Va with the follow-up, and really there was just Widow just taking the free shots. I believe she ended up getting like 3 kills there in that team fight as well. Didn't really need any healing, so she just gets free reign. Freezer. He's standing right beside Jack. That's funny.
Yeah, he's just waiting for that EMP opportunity. Moving up forward as the Infrasight comes out, just so everybody knows where ExPandable are. But they're just going to try and wait the Infrasight out. They don't want to give Agathon a chance to get those early picks, but Freezer Burn is just so patient. He's waiting for the call that says, yes, EMP now. He's going to get it out. There's the EMP. Hacks. So many, and the Shatter came out at the same time just to put the nail in the coffin. Paper Monk cleans them on up.
What a beautiful combo. The EMP plus the Reinhardt ult was so sick. That ended up getting like 4 people there. The EMP getting a lot more as well. That was just a total sweep. Not even close. Now we're starting to see Greyhound really come back, and they're holding this point with ease. However, Jack, 1 for 1.
Little bit of an opening here. Oh, here comes the Dragon Blade over the top, but Triamatar gets hacked! He can't use the dash! Now, he's just getting bullied as the Transcendence denies any kind of value. A sound barrier out from Rippin' to try and sustain ExPandable Odyssey, but they're caught in a Graviton, and Paper Monk is looking for the cleanup. Manages to find 2. It's a player advantage here for the defense and a health advantage as well. Jax, click and clack, they're all going down. Disay throws the Shatter down and manages to find 1, but it's just Healer and him, now just Ana versus the world. 16 seconds remaining, and ExPandable Odyssey are gonna lose the Ana to a late stagger before they can get in here.
Yeah, the last one to survive there was Jack, and he was just way in the back line, right beside the Widowmaker. I think that's gonna be it, but they're trying to do one last final stand.
Oh, barely the touch comes through, but Rippin' goes down so early. The wick is slowly burning away as Triamatar in the backline tries to keep it alive, but he just can't find the pick. Greyhound Solar are gonna hold here on the streets phase of Junkertown.
I definitely thought this was going to be a lot easier for this team to pull off. However, they just couldn't find their footing. There was a lot of little things that this team was off with, and I think that the engage was definitely one of them. Prioritization as well. But now we get to see the reversal. We get to see how exactly Greyhound ends up pulling this one off. Can they get past this first phase? I think that's the really, really big question. I want to see how ExPandable ends up stopping them.
Well, I got a question for you, too.
Yeah.
So we were talking about Agathon on the Widowmaker after that beautiful Shatter came out from Paper Monk, right? And you were discussing how there just was nobody dealing with him. Then, ExPandable, they decide to switch off their tank composition to the Reinhardt Zarya, which has no vertical mobility.
Yeah.
Is that the right call there? You would think you want to invest more resources onto the Widow, not less.
Yeah, there was definitely it was kind of like a panic switch in my opinion, because when you switch your strat mid game, like just all of a sudden, that can get very, very dangerous because you're immediately switching mindsets. You know, you don't really know what to prioritize. That can be very scary. And I think that was probably the number one thing that they struggled with was adaptability. So just knowing that this team has a little bit of struggles is really good to see. And I also want to see how Greyhound responds to that. Can they
ExPandable?
Yeah, can they try and adapt, right?
Oh, well, ExPandable. They're going back to their tried and true, their GOAT's composition that they won out Lijiang Tower with. They're going for the early hold, but Freezerburn, oh no! Oh, he does get the scout. He sees them coming around the corner, and that bio comes down onto DJ. Gets cleansed by a nice bubble from Jack, and Freezerburn is the first to fall. ExPandable want to just hold them in their spawn, Team Finland style, and they're going to be able to do so on this first defense.
Yeah, they definitely get to do so. Currently 2 going down, as well, just the total cleanup going out. Any little stray heroes are now just trying to either reset, go back to the base, and Widow can't even move. What a beautiful strat out of ExPandable.
Well, and it was a perfect way to play the GOAT's composition. Very tight-knit, close quarters comp, and they just go straight up to the spawn door. But now, they're not going to have the same advantages.
There we go.
Agathan switches over onto the Pharah, and Freezerburn is going to be looking for those nice hacks. Agathan up in the air, has the pharmacy, gets some damage down onto Click Clack, but gonna have to try and find a little bit more. Triamatar is purpled, so going to take a lot of damage, but Paper Monk is the first to fall. A trade comes out, and it's still anybody's fight here, especially since Greyhound Solar are gonna have those respawn advantages.
Yeah, they're now allowed just to try and defend the payload as best as possible, but now we're starting to see Greyhound try other strats. They need to get out of the base first. That was their main objective because they just got totally aced inside of their base. But now they start to come out of their shell a little bit more. They try and get out and hopefully try and move this payload by any means. But D.Va wants to stop that.
Greyhound Solar have to try and pick a target, or maybe they can just... Oh, Paper Monk's Shadow gets canceled, and Disay finds a beautiful one to take out the opposite main tank. Triamatar shutting all of Greyhound Solar's offensive momentum down as the rest of the team in blue just falls one by one.
It's just a total sweep. Little baby D.Va trying to get back into the base and can't even do it. Oh, man, what a total sweep. That was beautiful. I believe that was the Brigida. Ended up just stunning Paper Monk there and just prevented 2 ultimates. The Reinhardt ultimate to start off as well as the Ana. Oh, that just did not look good, but nice defense from EXPO.
And now ExPandable has so many ults to hold this. There's the bigger bang combo up overhead. Actually not going to find anything as it was a bit shallow, but 2 kills go the way of ExPandable regardless. They have a solid player advantage in this fight, and they're going to use it to keep Greyhound Solar in their spawn with a minute and a half remaining on their time bank.
Honestly, doesn't even seem, or it really seems like ExPandable just knows exactly where to be at what time. They know through every single strat that Greyhound is pulling out. It's just they have an answer to really everything. Any sort of stuns at the correct times as well. It's just this very simple push. Paper Monk as well.
He's just getting bullied, but Agathan's bullying in the backline. 2 for 2 here in this fight. As now DJ tries to throw out the Shadow, but it gets blocked entirely by the Zarya bubble. A res denied coming out of Raven. But if Greyhound Solar can keep this push alive, they have the respawn advantage. They can get in here, and that is exactly what they're doing now. 5 players for the attacking team coming back, and DJ's taking so much damage. ExPandable gonna have to back up for now.
It's a total switch of playstyle when you switch one of your DPS members from Sombra over to Reaper, because Reaper can act a little bit more aggressively. Even though Sombra is going to act as that backline threat, she hasn't been doing the exact same job as Freezerburn has been doing here. It seems like he's more comfortable on this DPS.
Oh, speaking of the DPS, he does come off out to the side. A nice transcendence from Click Clack denies the value of Paper Monk's Shatter, but he does still have the nano, and there's the Beyblade out on the field, finds Click Clack. So it's a player advantage here for Greyhound Solar as they try and sustain in this fight, but Paper Monk takes so much damage. He manages to sustain through, but only for a moment. Now a grab coming out from ExPandable, going to clean up Ouch. It's less than a second on the clock, and overtime is triggered. It's a beautiful self-destruct up in the air, takes out the pharmacy combo. It's just a Reaper against the world. And keep in mind, this isn't PTR Reaper. This is life patch. He's not going to have that life steal, and he's not going to have a life. That's ExPandable Odyssey gonna go up 2 in this series.
That's gonna be the game. 2-0 in this best of 5. They looked amazing on that defense. I did think that, or I thought that Greyhound was gonna take it a lot faster, but now we get to see play of the game.
Oh, it's gonna be that last minute self-destruct to clean up the pharmacy. Finishes, gets nice damage into the Graviton, and then just chucks it straight up into the air.
Yeah.
Beautiful play there, coming out from Jax.
He knew exactly what he was setting himself up for, too. He saw that he ended up getting a lot of damage onto those 2 members and then just throws his self-destruct into the air, and there was nothing guarding that pharmacy.
Yeah, good decision-making coming out from ExPandable. But now, keep in mind, this is a best of 5.
Yes.
It's the first 2-3 map wins here. So Greyhound Solar, not out of the running yet. ExPandable Odyssey have put themselves on 2 match point as we head into this 3rd map.
Yeah, we have to head on in.
Yep, sorry. I was going to ask you, what do you want to see Greyhound Solar maybe tighten up a bit to try and come back and pull this reverse sweep off?
They had great defense. We saw them at that one point when it was like the tight corridor scene when they were able to finally find their footing. They actually pulled out to be a pretty decent team. I think that their communication as well as their team play was very solid on that point, and there was nothing that ExPandable could have done there. However, when they were now on the offensive, that was a little bit iffy, right? We didn't really see them move the payload all that much, and then finally when they actually moved a little bit, they finally pulled out the Reaper there. It really just seemed like they were heavily relying on the Reaper throughout the whole entire phase. Finally, once ExPandable found their footing, they ended up just defending that last point.
Yeah, I gotta say, as someone who is familiar with the tier 3 and tier 2 scene, I have to commend ExPandable Odyssey for their knowledge of the meta, right? You know, I was a little surprised to see them come out on an interesting attack composition, but on their defense, they tighten it up, they play that GOATS composition, and they just steamrolled with it.
Yeah, there was a lot of amazing synergy when they ended up pulling out comps that definitely work. When they kind of staggered, like at that one point when they were on the attack in phase 2 where they needed to make that final push, they just weren't able to do that, and they ended up just switching comps, and they were just very confused on what worked and what didn't. So I think that they need to find what their sweet spot is, and it does seem like the 3 supports and 3 tanks, the Ghost comp, definitely works out for them.
Well, and now our 3rd map will be Volskaya Industries 2CP. This is a map that we've seen at the contenders level very recently, right? This is a map that we know for a fact is a GOATS composition map. This is ExPandable's playground, essentially. What can Greyhound maybe do to try and shut down this composition that's dominated the meta for the last 6 months?
I'm still thinking back to when they were able to stop the forces. I think if they pull out something that they're very comfortable with and that they know that they can definitely shock call on, then they can maybe stop it, right? It's that kind of like hard maybe.
So you want to see Agathan back on the Widow is what you're saying?
Yeah, he worked wonders when he found that angle, and it was he could have only done that on that one push. That's the problem, is that when he finds a spot and he's able just to snipe 3 members, that is when the enemy team will just be like, all right, he's up there, we got to remember that, and we have to dive for him, right? You can't do that anymore. So you need to definitely find your positioning as well as your kind of, I guess, cheese strats. And then you could maybe find the W.
Well, you know, Volskaya, once upon a time, once upon a meta, was a Widowmaker map, right? We saw in the Overwatch League, Stage 2, Stage 3. This was the Widow map, the double sniper map. So it's not out of the realm of possibility for Agathan to pop off here, especially on first point. You know, you get Widow up on that high ground. It's hard for GOATS to deal with high ground. You could find a nice angle. It's certainly in the realm of possibility, like I said before.
Yeah, but I think there's also 2 main points to Volskaya, right? There's the initial starting, I guess, capping point. Once you get that, I think that the first one is definitely easier than the second. The second is a lot more in an enclosed area, so that could definitely work out for some Reinhardts. You can have some Zaryas as well as a D.Va in there, and that can be your 3 tanks. That would be an absolutely beautiful attack comp, you know. And you can also add maybe a Brigitte. We've been seeing some Zenyatta. Zenyatta is working wonders in that comp from what I've been seeing as well. You can have that Lucio maybe for some extra boost, right? You can switch it all up. On the defense though, defense is a little bit harder because you do need as weird as it is to say, you need some skill, right? You need some skill in order to defend whatever is going to be coming at you. Because when you're in this very open area, it's almost kind of like every man to themselves until the attacking gets finally onto the point. Then it becomes a little bit more of a closed area. But when you're talking about that first entrance where that kind of like that truck is, I'm trying to visualize it as best as possible.
Oh yeah, no, you're doing good.
Good. Where that truck is, that initial entrance, it can get a little bit hard because that truck does to divide the entrance into two different areas.
It certainly does. We are having a quick break here, guys, but we're gonna keep it on rolling. Volskaya, like I said, will be our third map of the night, and let's talk standings really quick here, TheSavedOne, because Greyhound Solar are currently sitting at the top, right? They're tied with Blazing Pegasus for first place. Meanwhile, ExPandable Odyssey, the team 2-0 in this series, the team on match point, hasn't picked up a win yet, right? They're 0-2 with only a single map win before now. Now, I personally didn't get to see them play before, but it's insane to me that in our third round here we would have such an upset.
Yeah, I definitely know that it's very early in the season as well, so nothing's going to be solidified, set in stone. So sometimes in your first week of play, you could have some upsets, right? You could have a couple of hiccups. Maybe the team is still trying to get together, and then finally in this week of scrims, we're starting to see Expand Odyssey find what works, right? You could have some players that need to be swapped out, even though one player might be really, really good at doing X. This other player can fit better with your team if he does X, Y, Z. So we know that here in this series, I feel like Expand has definitely found their footing. We know different comps that they've tried. Maybe they've pulled out different comps throughout the week. They're trying different comps that are working in the Overwatch League, and it's also fitting with their own play styles. The thing that kind of scares me a little bit is that in order to take that 1 point back on Junkertown, Greyhound needed to pull out the Reaper. And I say that because they originally had that player, forget who it was Freezerburn. They had him on the Sombra. And it's like a totally different play style. So when you need to do something that drastic, it tells me that your team has weaknesses. As awful as
it's certainly where flexibility of the players is going to come in. I mean, we do see quote unquote flex gods up in the Overwatch League try and pull off these So, I mean, whether or not they could pull it off is questionable.
Yeah, it definitely is, but I think you ended up DCing.
I absolutely did. I am still on hold on. Sorry about this, guys. We will get into the game right and quick.
Yeah.
As I'm loading back in, what are we seeing in the match?
I was just gonna say we ended up seeing I need to find out. Hold on. We see Greyhound Solar, my bad. We ended up seeing Greyhound Solar pulling out their version of the GOATS comp, where it's Reinhardt, Diva, Zarya as well. Over on the supports, we have the Lucio, Moira, and the Brigida. Over on the other side, though, you got Pharmacy, as well as Zarya. Ashe, who's a brand new hero as well. We've seen a little bit of her. I do like her ultimate, which can do a lot of damage. Bob definitely pulls out a decent amount of damage over there, as well as Anna and Reinhardt. Are you looking like you're okay on your front?
I'm good on my front. I just need an invite back to the game. Sorry about this, guys. NA production lol. But
NA production.
I will get back in here in a moment.
Is there a way that we can invite him? Let's get production all solved up first. Is there a way? How do I do it?
They can't hear us right now. No hot mic. Oh. Oh, okay. It is Hot Mic. NA production, lol, everybody.
There we go.
We are utmost professionals here.
I did it. We did it. Let's go.
We've got it rolling now. I am back in the match, and I do apologize for that. But we are set to start here. We are into the match already. 1 minute expended off of the time bank. As we roll out here, will be Expandable Odyssey over in the blue now, rather than in the red. So they will be at first on defense.
And Goats didn't work out for Greyhound Solar as weird. It looks kind of weird because I guess they just didn't simply know how to pull it out. But Bob going out, see if he can get any kills.
Bob is out onto the field right now, sort of just peppering them. Jack manages to take Dr. Professor Oak down, as Greyhound Solar are going to have to try this one again.
Yeah, they can't really find the right comp, and you're seeing so many switches come out. That is, I don't know if that's good or if that's bad. In my experience in solo queue, that's bad. When you're constantly just switching heroes, you're trying to find what works, can't really find it. Brave Palm has switched about 3 times now, but Agathon, I believe he went over to his Widow, and then now he's trying out the McCree. Let's see if that works, but Zarya Reinhardt isn't horrible. Paper Monk and the Zarya have tried pulling it out before, but Reinhardt does get 1 kill. Not bad.
Oh, yeah, 1 kill going down from him and another found by Jack. Bossface is down, so it is still a relatively even fight here. Paper Monk gets the bio, but gets a nice shatter. Locking Jax is down, but DJ gets a nicer one, locking down 3. This is the opportunity Expandable needed to get back in this defense. Bossface rezzed by Click Clack as the Valkyrie up overhead, giving them the damage boost they need to clean this fight up.
Yeah, nice little cleanup there coming in for this team. It just seems like this comp is just totally working out for them. Nobody can touch whoever Zarya puts her bubble on, just constantly over and over again. How there's just so much defense over on this front. Bossface and Click Clack doing work absolutely in this match so far as well. Jack just showing a beautiful display of how to play Ashe, but the Graviton.
Oh, nice grab, but a good sound barrier from Paddington to deny the value. A Dragon Strike out separates Expandable Odyssey, and DJ gets caught out. So now, Greyhound Solar have the player advantage for the first time on their offense. 40 seconds remaining as they make their way onto the point. Click Clack taking damage, but Jax finds Paddington, so now it's a 5v5. Jack up in the air, finding value, and Bossface gets 1, trades with Ochenta, actually. Now Bob on the field, but he goes off into the room and gets slept. He's not going to be doing anything in this team fight, as 1 tick taken by the offense. Jack trying to stall it out for 2, looking for the pick onto Dr. Professor O. Finds it, but goes down, and now there's 3 on the point. Greyhound Solar have the respawn advantage,
definitely
but a nice bio comboed with the Nano and the Reinhardt, just going to lock this down. Not a second tick taken as of yet, as the respawns from Expandable come out onto the field. A desperation grab as we enter overtime, not going to net any kind of value from Greyhound Solar. Oh no, it's looking like only Brave Palm is going to be able to touch this, but he's not going to be able to get a tick. 1 by 1 they trickle in, and 1 by 1 they fall. Paper Monk not finding any kind of value, as they're just going to keep working their way on Lucio. But it's going to be difficult to try and sustain. Paddington, it's just a Lucio against the world, and that won't be enough. Expandable going to hold strong on point A.
You can also see the different switches coming in. You see the Tracer just try and get to the point, as well as Wrecking Ball, but they weren't able to get back to the point efficiently. But a beautiful stop as well coming in from Expandable. An amazing defense so far from what we saw from them. I was gonna say that the Mercy res onto Ana wasn't as effective, and then I ended up seeing the Reinhardt show up at the corner of my screen, and I'm like, wait, could that be coming out? Could the Reinhardt Ana combo be viable right here? And it was. That was a nice power up that Ana ended up giving off. So not a bad stop.
You know, and I for one, I'm gonna give props to Jack over on Expandable Odyssey, right? Cool. Up on the high ground the entire time on that Ashe, just uncontested, it seemed like, from Greyhound Solar.
Yeah, it really did seem like that Ashe really worked out for the comp just as kind of like that solo DPS. Didn't really need as much help as the rest of the members. Just wanted to stay up on the high ground. Just try to snipe members off if you could, maybe a couple of spams. But then right when Bob was available, it just ended up using it, and it did a lot just to clean up certain fights. So we ended up seeing Jack there really.
Well, it didn't do that much. Dig off into the room and get slapped.
It was one.
But...
It was one. I think Bob got 1 kill, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe it didn't. Maybe it didn't.
Bob did something.
Bob did Bob thing. It's fine. It's great. But we got 5 seconds until this attack starts. I do want to see if Greyheart even end up, or wait, no. Yeah, Greyhouse ended up defending this point. However, I don't know. I'm pulling out some pocket picks.
Right now, ExPandable Odyssey just scouting out what Greyhound Solar are going to be doing here. They see the composition and they decide, you know what, we're going to come out on the current composition right now. Jack over in the back trying to pull the defense's attention to the point. Just going to get out of there real quick as the push comes in from ExPandable in the front line. But May does separate them a bit, but it doesn't separate them nearly enough. 3 already down for Greyhound Solar. This is disastrous. If they lose this map, they lose the series, and they only have another 20% to go. Already 1 tick taken, as it's just the Reinhardt against everyone. The hammer gets swung and swung, but it is not hammer time for him, as ExPandable Odyssey going to lock it down in 3 and take this series against Greyhound Solar.
Wasn't even close. The Genji just did work throughout that last point. We get to see play of the game. Rippin' Pippin with the Lucio. What did he do? Are we? Okay.
Beautiful, beautiful play here. Interesting Lucio play of the game. Nice. You know, he does land a lot of shots there. It's kind of hard to get those as Lucio, but
yeah.
This will not be the end of our stream, folks. We will be playing the 4th map. It will be you know, for those standings, for that map win-loss differential. Every map is going to matter here as we move forward. And you know, Greyhound, that wasn't their best showing, but on their offense, they nearly made it work.
Yeah, they definitely had potential, right? They ended up taking the 2 ticks, which wasn't bad, but it just wasn't enough in order to get to that second phase. They couldn't get inside of the building, if I were to say. But now we get to see a switch of sides over on Eichenwalde. I do like this map because it's first you got to capture a payload and then you got to move it. 2 different little strats there. Also 2 different playstyles, if I were to say that, because the attacking side does have to play the initial dive in order to get past the bridge onto the point itself. That giant tower that blocks off the bridge and the point itself is going to be huge in terms of what side they end up taking. So I like watching this map. It's very interesting to see what strats they play.
Absolutely. Each point offers its own different variety when it comes to meta. It always has. It's one of those maps where no matter what the meta is, every single point is just different. It's beautiful, right? You have that nice combination of close quarters and open area on the first point. Second point, almost entirely open area, like you said, with the castle in the middle. And then it's just the complete opposite on third. So
exactly.
Flexibility is going to be the name of the game here for these 2 teams.
The one thing I also love to see if you're defending is a sniper, right? Whether it's an Ashe, whether it's a Widow. There's a lot of places that Widow and Ashe can camp out in, maybe on top of a castle, maybe in different buildings, right? There's all these little high spots that snipers can definitely camp out in. And I do want to see if Odyssey can pull that out. I believe they are defending first. So we get to see if or like at least what comp they want to pull out.
Sure. Our teams will be swapping sides yet again. Greyhound Solar will be back in the blue. ExPandable Odyssey back in the red. So they'll be attacking first. But you were close. It was a 50-50.
Yep, exactly. I thought that I come from the League of Legends world. So usually blue side is the more dominant one. But it's all good.
Well,
we're in this.
Here in Overwatch, we both it's everybody gets a try at the same thing, you know. There's no inherent advantage to the blue side.
Yeah.
I never got over that as someone who used to play League. Never got over it. But everybody here, you're in first person, so everybody's on the same playing field, unless we manage to see a Pharah, because then you know they'll be up in the air. So it's not the same field, but doesn't seem at the moment that these teams will be showing us a Pharah. Greyhound Solar coming out on their defense. They got that. They got that Ash you were talking about. The one you wanted to see.
Wanted to see. I definitely wanted to see a sniper. Right, you got the Ash as well. Anna kind of works. She is a technically a sniper, but she's like a healing sniper.
Well, you know, there are DPS Annas out there in the world. Certainly ones in my ladder match, but you know, hopefully Paddington does a pretty good job here.
Overwatch games.
Yeah, well, we'll see. ExPandable Odyssey right now looks like big shocker, guys. They're coming out on the GOATS composition that they've been so dominant on. Greyhound Solar gonna have to play this one carefully. They don't want to get run over on the ground.
I've also been seeing Freezerburn just switch off different heroes throughout these different matches. They wanted to originally start off with some sort of a Sombra type of comp where she sneaks into the backline and hopefully gets some sort of hacks off, but they're going right on to this point.
Yeah, they're just charging straight in, but it's going to cost them 2 players. Over aggression maybe coming out from Greyhound Solar, but the point is not over yet. 2-2, and Greyhound Solar taking a lot of damage. Freezerburn on a sliver of health, somehow managing to live and even find 2 kills. Oh man, he gets shut down by Jack, but this push is already over for the offense.
Yeah, that's going to be really it. And it really did seem like that the offense just wasn't on the same page as what it really just came down to. They can't stagger here as well. They need to wait for the rest of the team and then hopefully go for one more push. But I think on this next push, they just all have to be on the same page. Reinhardt charged in, and usually when you're playing some sort of a tank, you're allowed to take a lot of damage. However, don't die instantly. That's the one thing that we ended up seeing, is that Reinhardt fell way too fast, and it heavily relied on the D.Va tanking, and you can't really rely on the D.Va to solo tank. So, Freezerburn, he's in his element right now.
He certainly is. Right now, it seems like with the new sub, Melchizi coming in for Ditche on the side of ExPandable Odyssey, doesn't quite seem like they've locked the coordination down. Rippin gets caught out to the side of the shield there.
Yeah, and now they're just trying to set up for some sort of a push, right? You finally see them charge in.
Yeah, straight down the middle. Oh, and the block coming out from Melchizi is beautiful, but it's not beautiful enough to deny the bio coming out from Paddington. Freezerburn finds 3 in the middle of Click Clack's Transcendence. Not going to get any value out of that support ultimate. ExPandable, they're still pushing in here, interestingly enough, but it's just a Reinhardt, a Baby D.Va, and a Zen, and now the Reinhardt's caught in a grab and taken down. So ExPandable Odyssey gonna have to wait for the respawns, but they're not waiting very long. Right now, seems like they still want to stay in here. Paddington goes down from a nice long-range right-click from Jack here, and ExPandable actually staying in here. They know that they have the respawn advantage, and that Reinhardt and D.Va are nearly back. If they can get in here before the Ana gets back a long ways away for the defender spawn, they can take this at a 5v6. That's exactly what they're going to do. They stack the rally, the grab, the bomb. Everything's coming out from ExPandable. And one manages to find on a paper buff now. A tire coming out from Wavepalm finds 2. So it's still an advantage here for the defending team. Greyhound Solar looking to clean this one up as there are 3 left for ExPandable on the point. Freezerburn and Brave Palm need to find this damage, however. Jax does get demeched, and with that, that'll spell the end of this push from ExPandable with 1 minute on the clock.
ExPandable just not able to find even 1 tick. I did like the strat with just staying on the aggro front by staying in this, just, I guess, trying to wait for Paper Monk to show up, and then they finally ended up attacking, but, or wait, no, opposite side. I got confused. They ended up waiting for the Reinhardt, and then they went in, is what I'm trying to say. But now, Jack switching to the Genji, trying to find a new angle to take at this as well. Click Clack going over to the Mercy. I believe Ana was still there, but now, again, they're trying to do the exact same strat. Go in, Bossface gets 1 kill.
But Dr. Professor Oak finds another, and Freezerburn cleans up. Bossface up in the air. Kills are going out left and right. Here's Click Clack manages to get a res onto Melchizi, but a nice TNT from Freezerburn shuts the push down. That's a good shatter, Melchizi, but it's just you against 2 people, and you don't have any health, bud. 10 seconds on the clock. Don't even know if anyone can get there. Bossface is gonna give it his all. No ticks as he goes around the side. Sneaky Farah does manage to get onto the point and trigger the overtime, but doesn't manage to get back into the air. ExPandable come into this at a player disadvantage. Melchizi's back now on the Wrecking Ball. A Transcendence out from Dr. Professor Oak just to put the nail in the coffin of this offense. And now Bob is going to do something. He's going to clean them up and prevent them from staying on this point. That will be it. And Greyhound Solar are going to hold strong here on point A of Eichenwalde.
Greyhound Solar knew exactly how to defend that point. What a nice job. That they ended up just trying. They almost kind of read the enemy there. They've had 3 rounds so far that they've played out, and not a bad display. I do like the defense they ended up pulling out as well. How they were all kind of on the same front. They were able to prevent the dive that ExPandable had. It can definitely catch teams off guard if you just see a charging Reinhardt towards you, but it did work out. They knew how to defend every single push. There was about 4 of them there, and not even a tick coming from ExPandable. I want to see if Greyhound can even maybe take this point. They definitely have the resources to do so. But what we've seen so far is ExPandable knowing how to defend these points. They know how to defend against the raging comp of the enemy. So we'll see if they can pull it off here.
And, I want to circle back to what you were talking about with Greyhound Solar and their composition, right? I think it's very, we were talking before this map about how Eichenwalde is a map that allows for a variety of compositions, right? Yeah. Especially this first point. You have high ground by the point where your Ashe and your Junkrat could set up. Mm-hmm. And ExPandable, it's close enough quarters to where they wanted to run the Goats composition, but they didn't have a way to get to Brave Palm or to Freezer Burn. So it was just free pickings. They swap over onto the far end, the Genji, but it's a minute left in the round, and that's such a slow composition, especially since they swapped Ripon over to the Ana.
Yeah, there's definitely some situations where Junkrat just doesn't work, but right there, it seemed like he just did what he needed to do, right? The Riptide to kill 2 people, as well as maybe just a couple of staggering kills, is definitely what they needed in order to just defend that point, and he did that beautifully. But now we're starting to see a totally different side to both of these teams. Even just the Doomfist is something huge.
Yeah, but the Maywall locks out the front line of Greyhound Solar. Gonna be difficult to get on, but oh my god, the back cap nearly coming through from Paddington. He got about 25% of the way there. That could have been the map, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. It's not quite going to be the case here. ExPandable are going to hold for this first push.
He got a lot. That's incredibly scary when you can get almost the full entire point by yourself, and then the rest of the team's just like, wait, there's a Lucio sitting on our point. Someone freeze that guy, and May just goes back and gets that and does that well. But now we're starting to see a little bit of a stalemate coming in from Greyhound. I want them to find anything, but now they're going in.
They certainly are going straight on to the point. They want to try and wrap this series up, but they can't get to the point. Freezer Burn finds one, but Paper Monk is down as well. Brave Palm down, and Paddington, they're not going to fall for the same thing twice, but you're out in no man's land, but your team needed you. They needed the healer. He is going to get back. He's not going to get staggered, but maybe not the best decision making.
No, I was just going to say is that when you're one man short, that is when your team is at its weakest, because you ended up just seeing Paper Monk go in. He went in, I believe, with the Zarya, and then the rest of the team just got May walled off, and then Lucia just in the back line with May just using her ice move to just try and stall out the point. Hopefully no more ticks go on to that. But they need to just, come together as a team. Find some sort of teamwork. Lucio, stay with the team. Maybe speed them up. Anything in order to try and push just a little bit better. But we're now back to the bridge. We'll see what damage they can put off.
Well, Paper Monk, they wanted to try and capitalize on the purple onto Melchizi, but now they're just going to get grabbed and cleaned up nice and easy. A Maywall just prevented any kind of follow-up onto the Reinhardt of ExPandable. Don't know if that sound barrier was needing ripping, but you know what? You're going to win the fight, so...
Yeah, both teams just struggling on the offense here from what it seems. It's honestly, from what I see so far out of Greyhound, it's not really... I don't think it's the comp. I don't think the comp is anything too horrible. Freezer Burn just getting a couple of kills, which is great. Farah hasn't really been given the position, but Bob going in.
Bob goes in, but he gets immediately slept. Gets woken up, however, but frozen as well.
There we go.
Not gonna be allowed to do anything, but the rest of Greyhound Solar is. They found 3 kills as they move into this point. This is their opportunity to take a map in this series, but they need to stay alive. Oh, the Boostio out onto the field. Rippin gets the nano, but he's not going to be able to find any kind of kills. It's Lucio and Wrecking Ball against the world here. Now a Tracer back onto the field. Jack's switching onto that just so they can try and keep this in contention. The nano comes out onto Paper Monk for him to try and find these kills, but he's getting danced around, but it's not going to matter. It's only the Tracer now on the point, and Bossface over top is going to get taken out. Greyhound Solar are finally going to claim a map in this series and make it so the score reads 3-1.
Greyhound finally taking the match. Not a horrible display. Good job. We get to also see the play of the game. Ash. We'll see what Freezer Burn did here.
Wonder if it's Bob doing something. It is not. It is just some nice clicking on the bodies of the enemy team, you know?
He does a lot of damage.
Just click their heads, lol.
That was also...
yeah, that's a pretty good dynamite.
That was sick. Right, he just threw it in, and that is when Zarya ended up throwing the Graviton. Just like, let's just stack them, right? Sometimes you don't need a whole lot in order to kill the members that are inside of a Graviton. You don't need anything crazy like a Hanzo, right? All you really need is dynamite. Perfect place dynamite works. It works wonders.
Yeah, especially when they don't have a support ult, right? No sound barrier, no transcendence means no denial of that value. But let's look ahead a little bit. Let's talk about these teams, because now Greyhound Solar have just been handed their first loss. ExPandable have picked up their first win.
Yeah.
What do you want to see from both of these teams moving forward in terms of how ExPandable keep the momentum and how Greyhound Solar reclaim it?
I think that starting off with the ExPandable, they were really good at kind of just doing a lot of little things, and they did a lot of the little things well, which netted them a couple of wins, right? They were able to adapt when needed as well. They were able to pull out certain comps that the pros end up using. And at a level like this, I think that's really good, right? When you can finally find the team synergy, when your coaches are able to coach you throughout the week, maybe through scrims, that's really good, right? Out of Greyhound Solar, though, I think when they were at their weakest, they just didn't really know what to do. They were very just like, all right, let's just try this, right? Let's see if it works. And if it ended up working, they were like, good job, guys. We did it, right? I think that they need to find a more solidified comp that works out for them. And if they could do that this week, then that's amazing, right? If they can find their comp, and maybe a couple of heroes get switched out, right? Maybe one of the subs knows how to play X champion better than one of the players. And that's when you can swap out players that fill the exact same role. The one place that we ended up seeing that with the Sombra and the Reaper at one point, where Reaper was just better on this player, right? If you need a Sombra player, grab one of the subs, right? Hopefully they can find that this week.
Well, thank you very much, TheSavedOne, for joining me here. I've been Paulsible, folks. As TheSavedOne was just talking about swapping heroes, we ourselves are going to be swapping out. That will be it for the Owlet Miners today, but don't go anywhere, because in about 30 minutes at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we're going to have the Owlet Majors. We're going to have another ExPandable team, ExPandable Academy, versus the Megs. That should be a great match, but I've been Paulsible. With me has been TheSavedOne. Thank you so much to our producer, Direboyd, and our previous producer, Noella Lee. Thank you all so much for tuning in, and we hope to see you guys soon.